This old man was something else. With just a flick of his left hand, a small flag appeared, and the giant before police officer clapped in amazement, but the newcomer looked completely stunned. So the old man patiently explained, the thing they just sealed was a spirit from another world, casually called a soul. Long years, they gradually gain a physical form. In that state, they are called Fusang gods, and it has been the job of the Sayan clan, the old man's family line, to manage and restrain them through generations. Normally, the old man would deal with Fusang gods through peaceful negotiation and gentle methods, but has personally witnessed the Fusang god named Grease Scattered kill his beloved older brother and sister. Because of this deep pain, the boy acted recklessly every time he encountered a Fusang god, giving the old man endless headaches. In the Sayan clan's teachings, very different. While some do bad things, others just want to return to their world or try to adapt to human life. Therefore, the true mission of the Sayan clan is to listen to them head first and forcibly seal it without even a word, stirring up unnecessary trouble. No matter how much the old man tried to teach him, the boy simply couldn't let go of his hatred. Feeling helpless, the old man the boy didn't accept, he would strip him of his sane qualification. To avenge his brother and sister, the boy could not afford to lose his identity, so he had no choice but to agree. And so, he traveled to Kyoto, remembering the old man's instructions. He was to be under the care of the head of the Nagatsuki family, Miss Botan, who was around his age. The old man wanted him to experience the daily lives of Fusang gods who lived alongside humans, to understand the connection between them, and to re-examine the existence of Fusang gods. Meanwhile, at the Nagatsuki house entrance, he was greeted by two Fusang gods, a slender one named Ushi and a burly man named Kasumi. After learning that they were Fusang gods, the boy didn't even want to talk to them and bluntly asked where Botan was. It turned out that Botan was still attending her college classes, something the boy had forgotten. Remembering this, Botan decided to leave class after the third period to return home. Ushi told the boy that since their master was a student, she wasn't home yet, but apart from Shizuka, the gentle and kind En, the cold and aloof Kiora, and the fiery and explosive Choku, Ushi was their leader. To avoid misunderstandings, the straightforward boy immediately made his feelings clear. He hated Fusang gods. In his eyes, they were not humans but pretended to be, getting close to humans only to deceive them, and he didn't trust them at all. He taught this rude brat a lesson and told the others not to interfere. Kasumi asked Ushi if it was really okay, but Ushi saw it merely as roughhousing and even thought the boy was a good kid for speaking his mind based on the original vessel they possessed. When used as weapons, they could pose a serious who decided to use the dull sides of the blades. The boy, refusing to back down, also threw out by the boy's strength, able to predict Choku's attacks so well. Still, it was clear to everyone, neither of them had revealed their true power yet. Just as the boy and Choku were fighting fiercely with no clear winner, a message arrived after third period to come home. Ushi also became anxious upon hearing the news and, after checking the time, realized Botan would arrive any moment. Meanwhile, the fight ganged up on made the boy even more convinced that Fusang gods couldn't be trusted. Just then, Botan finally arrived. Although the boy was close to collapsing from exhaustion, he still managed to formally introduce himself. Botan crossed her arms and drew a circle in the air with her hands. As the circle completed, a mirror appeared on her forehead. It was her special ability, the Demon Revealing Mirror, which could reveal the true nature and past actions of anyone before it. Kneeling before the mirror was a Fusang god who had once been a young spirit. After gaining human form, she wanted to live peacefully among humans. Botan used her mirror to examine her, and upon confirming she had never harmed humans, she allowed her to stay in reality as a special case. Hearing this, the Fusang god finally relaxed. However, as Yan prepared to escort her for the official report, the moment the boy mentioned the word Nagatsuki, the Fusang god's expression twisted in horror. Before Yan could react, the Fusang god lashed out, badly injuring most of Yan's body. Next, the Fusang god targeted the mirror. In the critical moment, the boy rushed forward, grabbed Botan, and saved her. It was a moment that made his heart tremble with unfamiliar feelings. The boy couldn't understand why the Fusang god would suddenly attack, but the Fusang god, filled with terror, believed they were trying to deceive her. Since she had destroyed the proxy Sayan agent and attacked their assistant, there was no longer any reason for her to stay in the human world. Without hesitation, the boy launched his counterattack. As a descendant of the Sayan clan, his strength was formidable. He quickly subdued the Fusang god, pinned her against the wall by her collar, and prepared to seal her with his left hand. But at that critical moment, the Fusang god broke down in tears. She revealed that she had heard terrible rumors about the Nagatsuki family being ruthless hunters of their own kind, which explained her extreme fear. Seeing her sadness, the boy hesitated and paused the sealing process. Meanwhile, Yan, who was not actually dead, was slowly regenerating. Upon learning the truth behind the Fusang god's actions, Yan comforted her, explaining that today's meeting was purely for examination purposes. Thanks to her unique traits, she had survived the attack. This misunderstanding was finally resolved. Through this experience, the boy's view of Fusang gods began to change, but before that, he had deeply hated them. Even when he he first arrived at Botan's house, he openly accused her family's Fusang gods of being liars. Botan couldn't bear hearing her family insulted as monsters. She declared that someone who spoke like that shouldn't be allowed to stay. However, acknowledging that her side was also at fault for the earlier scuffle, she agreed to let the boy stay for 3 days. During that period, if he didn't show genuine friendliness, she would force him to leave no matter what. The boy panicked. If he was kicked out halfway, his grandfather would strip him of his sane qualifications. Sayans were beings blessed by the boundary-protecting deity, akin to law enforcers for the Fusang gods. For the sake of avenging his brother and sister, the boy could not lose that identity. Thus, he resolved to stay no matter what. Unfortunately, the Fusang gods living at Botan's house had no intention of warming up to him, except for Choku, who respected him after their fight. Meanwhile, Botan regretted her earlier impulsiveness, feeling that 3 days was a bit too harsh, though Ushi believed it was reasonable. They noted that while the boy's personality was straightforward and honest, it was also dangerously reckless. For now, they decided to observe him quietly. Despite these plans, Botan already felt awkward at the thought of having dinner together that night. In truth, Ushi's real goal was to test if the boy was good enough for Botan and maybe even match them together. Meanwhile, Choku approached the boy with a deal. If the boy helped him with a task, he would put in a good word for him in front of Botan. The boy understood that the task involved hunting rogue Fusang gods. The 6 Fusang gods who lived at Botan's house had gained their special status by agreeing to assist the local Sayan agents in capturing dangerous peers. This arrangement made them proxy Sayans, fellow hunters of their own kind. Although they hated this job, which earned them resentment from others, they were willing to endure it just to stay close to Botan. Elsewhere, a rogue Fusang god was attacking helpless humans, believing himself invincible. As he gloated, the boy and Choku arrived. The rogue Fusang god immediately attacked without a word, but having only recently gained form, he was no match for them. Working together, the boy and Choku swiftly subdued and sealed him. Unexpectedly, the boy discovered that the rogue had a rather pathetic background. After completing the task, Choku fulfilled his promise and officially acknowledged the boy by having him sign a recognition form joining the group. Botan, however, worried about the boy's next mission, working alongside Shizuka and Yan. Shizuka was no problem, but Yan was famously hot-tempered. Sure enough, Yan started flirting during the mission. To the boy, she seemed like a textbook case of a Fusang god deceiving humans. Yan hurriedly explained that she only wanted to make friends and chat harmlessly, but the boy remained skeptical. What frustrated him even more was discovering that Shizuka had wandered off to enjoy shopping and eating, behavior he found pointless. Fusang gods didn't need to eat or buy clothes, so why waste time imitating human habits? But for them, it was a way to experience human joy, to understand what made Botan and humans happy. Yan pleaded with the boy not to blindly hate them, explaining that they had thoughts and feelings too. Hearing this, the boy promised to try and understand. They proceeded to meet another Fusang god for a final evaluation, the same one shown at the beginning of the story. After this event, both Shizuka and Yan officially acknowledged the boy and hoped he would stay. With that, only 3 more Fusang gods remained to accept him. Whether the boy would be able to stay or not remained to be seen. A new woman appeared with a very strange ability. Her weapon was a hairpin, but it was no ordinary accessory. Anyone she struck would same time, Chi and the others sensed the disturbance. Fearing that Jie would lose control, Chi decided to go check. Meanwhile, the boy was desperate, slammed her hand against the wall beside the boy, cornering him, and asked why he still refused to fight back. After living among them for 2 days, the boy confessed he had realized they were noobs. Hearing this, Jia sighed, realizing that continuing the fight was pointless. However, without Jia's approval, the boy couldn't stay at the Nagatsuki house with got such confidence. Curious about his boldness, the boy asked if Ji liked Botan. Embarrassed and caught off, but it fit his straightforward nature. At that moment, the enemy known as Mechanized Head arrived, along with Chi and the others. Mechanized Head were shameful creatures, Fusang gods who kowtowed to humans and even hunted their own kind on human orders. But Chi didn't even take him seriously, treating him as just another rogue Fusang god. Being so utterly looked down upon, enraged Mechanized Head. Noticing that the Nagatsuki family cared about the boy, he ordered his subordinates to kill the boy first. Instantly, 3 of his henchmen charged at him. Chi quickly gave instructions. Jie told the others to assist. Shizuka asked Yan to help the boy, while Chi stayed back to deal with Mechanized Head himself. Meanwhile, Ushi, having received the call, decided to rush to the scene, curious about the invaders' true nature and whether their actions might draw out something hidden deep inside the boy. Back at the battlefield, for creatures like this, there could be no forgiveness. Mechanized Head, even in defeat, smiled grimly. He realized the truth about the boy's heart. His hatred and resentment toward Fusang gods ran deep and constant. Yet, signs of change had started to appear. Ushi believed that maybe, just maybe, there was hope for the greatest wish was for their master Botan to find happiness in marriage. After 3 days of living together, they had come to see the boy as a potential match. Seeing what was happening left the boy completely confused, while Botan was so embarrassed that her face turned bright. bright red. She rushed to explain that they were just joking, but it was clear they weren't. They had been serious all along. From their elementary school days, they had been scouting for a suitable candidate, even checking out middle school classmates. 2 candidates had been rejected, and now their hopes rested entirely on the boy. Everyone was speechless, but there was no helping it. After all, these Fusang gods had been born from objects meant to carry marriage bonds, and that was how they had transformed into human form. In short, this had basically turned into a matchmaking event. At that moment, all eyes in the room were fixed anxiously on the boy, each of his movements pulling at their tense hearts. Little did they know, the boy was using a delaying tactic. He said that suddenly becoming family was too big a step, and he would need more time to think it over. Hearing this, even Ushi couldn't push further. Soon after, the boy found an excuse to leave the house. After he left, the others hadn't expected such a polite and formal response. But for Botan, it was a disaster. Now they would have to face each other every day and things would just get even more awkward. Actually, the boy wasn't feeling much better. His calm earlier had all been forced. Recalling everything that had just happened, Botan felt so embarrassed. After all, the boy had only been here 2 or 3 days and now she had basically been told he was a marriage candidate. Seeing their master in distress, 2 of the Fusang gods secretly chuckled happily. But there wasn't much time to dwell on it. They had to head out. After thinking it over, Botan decided she needed to apologize. Meanwhile, the boy called his grandfather, demanding to know why he had agreed to this ridiculous situation. Was it supposed to be some kind of spiritual training? His grandfather explained that it was exactly because the boy was such a hopelessly dense straight man that he was worried. The boy was already 21 years old and showed no sign of ever falling in love. This matchmaking was simply helping things along. In short, the entire world was assisting him, but the boy remained a blockhead who only thought about fighting. Learning that Hain and Jie had gone to deal with the group responsible for the recent arson incident without him, the boy grew furious, scolding Yan for not calling him to help. Meanwhile, Botan saw the boy outside and decided to take the opportunity to apologize for the matchmaking. Yan quickly hid to give them privacy. True to his reputation, the boy handled it with such bluntness that Botan immediately felt crushed. She didn't know whether to blame his blunt honesty or his complete lack of social sense. He was the textbook definition of a steel-hearted straight man. After Botan left, Yan, who had been eavesdropping, was seething with anger. The boy's cold words had deeply hurt the young, blossoming Botan, treating her feelings like they were nothing. Even the normally gentle Yan couldn't stay calm after that. Meanwhile, the enemy's leader gloated to his men, claiming that while the others had been distracted, their boss must have already captured Botan. Hearing this, Hain and Ji immediately rushed back to find her. Botan's situation was indeed perilous. She was trembling in fear. The enemy, Grey Lord, thought himself untouchable, especially since in Kyoto's Fusang god circles, there was an unwritten rule forbidding harm to Botan of the Nagatsuki family. But now, he believed it was only to protect her because she was weak. Sensing the danger, Botan turned to flee, but Grey Lord wouldn't let his prize slip away so easily. He used his dust-scattering ability to blind her with clouds of dirt. Though it didn't cause direct harm, it left Botan defenseless. Just as he was about to strike, the boy arrived like a flash, slicing off Grey Lord's arm with his Sayan power. Confirming Botan was safe, the boy turned to confront the enemy. However, Grey Lord was surprisingly nimble, dodging attacks and even counterattacking. As they fought fiercely, Grey Lord's palm was suddenly pierced. Hain and Jie had arrived in time to strike. Though Grey Lord called them devious, it was too late for regrets. Another enemy, T, summoned a massive greatsword from the ground, knocking both Grey Lord and the boy flying and terrifying Botan. After dealing with Grey Lord, the boy accused T of trying to eliminate him along with Grey Lord. But to his surprise, T apologized sincerely, explaining he had simply lost his temper and didn't intend to hurt the boy. T even thanked the boy for saving Botan, promising that he now owed the boy a favor. Then he dragged Ji away to clean up the aftermath. After they left, Botan thanked the boy for saving her life and curiously asked why he had come. It turned out it was Ushi who had insisted the boy be sent. Embarrassed by being overheard, Botan blushed fiercely. The boy apologized too, explaining that during the matchmaking event, seeing Botan's panic made him feel like the Fusang gods were burdening her too much, so he had only wanted to reassure her, not pressure her. His awkward attempt at kindness left Botan completely speechless. Back inside, Ushi and the others sighed, amazed at just how terrible the boy's communication skills were. Meanwhile, one of the Kyoto's 3 greatest Fusang gods entered the scene, not just the strongest among men, but also among his power so much that they revered him as a god of war, until they were posed by a former Sayan leader. Togake had summoned the 3 of them because he had heard a certain rumor that the boy had been involved with the Nagatsuki family incident. Meanwhile, the boy was calmly recovering the secret Sayan seals, designed so that any Fusang god entering their range would be instantly immobilized. Fully collecting them, the old man explained everything to Togake about why the boy had been sent to live at the Nagatsuki house. Upon hearing the truth, Togake warned them to be careful. No matter the circumstances, they had essentially planted a third party beside Botan. There was a reason for the unwritten rule that no one should touch Botan, because she possessed a special nature that was beneficial to both humans humans and Fusang gods. Therefore, she couldn't be allowed to favor either side. However, by involving a Sayan clan leader and their proxy Fusang gods, it could easily look like they were trying to rope Botan in, remarking that someone might have already made a move. Sure enough, the boy soon realized this. Two people suddenly appeared behind him. Their goal was to capture him. However, they didn't know what he looked like yet. They were merely suspicious. Thinking quickly, the boy pretended to be a casual investigator checking on the barrier and casually said goodbye. Meanwhile, G was searching for the boy, realizing something was wrong when his calls went unanswered. Spotting the traces of broken seals on the ground, he deduced that Fusang gods from the Qi district were causing trouble. At the same time, the boy was being interrogated. Hilariously, the boy misunderstood and thought they wanted to know the weaknesses of the Nagatsuki household Fusang gods. But what the enemies actually want was just psychological warfare trying to confuse him. But he wasn't naive enough to fall for such cheap ordinary incident. G had tracked them by the burnt remnants of the broken seals. Hearing this, Mushroom Head and his companions and intelligence gathering, they were just doing their jobs. But who had ordered them to stir up trouble today remained unclear. It turned out Togake had secretly arranged for them to intervene, wanting to see how things would unfold. He unfold, eagerly awaiting the next twist. Meanwhile, on his way back, the boy couldn't stop thinking about Mushroom Head's words. He didn't seem like he was lying, meaning there must be some hidden truth behind all this. Seizing the opportunity of Valentine's Day, the boy mustered it, yet his heartfelt words only earned him a polite rejection, the classic good person card. It turned out Botan was extremely busy, rushing to submit a small thesis before 4 p.m. after spending 2 sleepless nights working on it. She hurriedly bid everyone farewell and left. After Botan was gone, the 2 Fusang gods asked the boy what he had just been trying to do. It turned out he had heard rumors about Botan being a god-possessed person and wanted to understand her better, but to Shizuka, it had sounded exactly like a love confession. Still, as a member of the Sayan clan, the boy had a duty to uncover the truth. Ushi thought it was time to tell the boy everything, rather than letting misunderstandings fester. However, he made the boy promise something first. The scene shifted to outside a supermarket, where the boy waited impatiently, only to be stunned when a beautiful woman approached. It was Ushi, dressed up to the point that the simple boy almost didn't recognize. Botan stepped outside into the city. The world she saw was very different. If the boy focused carefully, he would understand. Sure enough, when he paid attention, he saw it. Countless Fusang gods roaming everywhere. All the gazes of the Fusang gods were fixed on Botan. Immediately tried to rush out to protect her, actually make a move. Even Botan herself had long grown used to being stared at like this. It was just a part of her everyday life now. The boy found this hard to believe, but no matter how many questions he asked afterward, Ushi's answer remained the same. Meanwhile, Botan returned to her school and remembering only that he had leaned in very close this morning, though she hadn't heard clearly what he had said. Meanwhile, Ushi explained to the boy why so many beings were staring at Botan. Fusang gods were born when soul eaters attached themselves to objects, gaining form. So what if a soul eater had attached itself to a human instead? The powers derived from objects were already immense. If one fused with a human, the potential might be limitless. It turned out a strict rule was established. No one was allowed to harm Botan. That was why they could only stare at her from afar, unable to do anything else. Hearing all this, the boy finally understood, though he couldn't help but suspect that even Ushi and the others had ulterior motives. When he pressed Ushi about it, Ushi just gave a mischievous smile, finding the question ridiculous. In the beginning, after Botan was entrusted to them, the rule hadn't yet spread, so for the first 3 years, they couldn't even leave the house. Even when they were allowed outside, children were either greedy humans seeking power or monsters. Only the 6 of them stayed by her side, and over time their feelings naturally grew, not just from duty, but something deeper, like the love of parents watching over a child. It had taken years just to stop caring about hiding their aura around her. Years before her peers stopped sensing the difference. Years more before any evil intentions. Seeing that the boy still hesitated, Ushi revealed that their presence by Botan's side had been personally approved by his grandfather. Hearing this, the boy finally believed them, and he made up his mind. He too would protect Botan. Ushi smiled, knowing the boy had reached the right conclusion. Then he called out to Shizuka, who had been secretly tailing them, worried about the boy. Now, she could finally breathe a sigh of relief. But while the 3 of them were discussing such heavy matters, Botan suddenly showed up, startling them all. She had finished submitting her assignment and didn't have any more classes today. Flustered, Ushi quickly lied that they had only been forget. Ushi even gave him a small push on the shoulder when they left earlier. Remembering this, Botan hurriedly apologized to the boy for any misunderstanding, but the boy admitted he was also at fault for not explaining clearly. Seizing the chance, Botan nervously asked him what he thought of her after learning despite her hardships. Botan couldn't understand it. Wasn't she strange, even scary? But the boy didn't think so at all. To him, she was simply an incredibly strong girl. Hearing this, Botan's heart trembled. For the first time, someone had heard about her past and responded not with hugging Botan tightly. Watching the 3 of them together, the boy found his thoughts drifting helplessly back to memories of the past.